All right, welcome back to another episode of the Snap Count. I'm Emilio Calderon, and I'm joined by a dark horse candidate for the Chicago Bears offensive coordinator job. His name is Caleb Catlin. We've got a short, what I expect to be a short and sweet episode. I mean, we always prove ourselves wrong there, but it was a fun week 10 in the NFL though. This season truly has not stopped giving, but yeah, no game of the week this week. Just get straight into it. But we've got a lot of winners and losers. I'd like to start just because I'd like to start by being positive about a guy I've not been very positive, and generally a team I've not been very positive about this season at all, and that is the Miami Dolphins. And I'm going to shout out my first winner of the week is going to be quarterback Tua Tagovailoa, who had a fairly good game this week when in a week where we really expected this Monday Night Football not to be very exciting. It wasn't a great game, but I think a lot of people had the Rams pulling this one off. Yeah, the Dolphins won. Actually, I already forgot off the top of my head, at 23-15. It was a weird game.
Yeah, 23-15.
15. But yeah, Tua, a lot of controversy about his head injuries, of course, but focusing on the field. I guess I should get this out of the
No,
way.
on the field, he damn
Get
near,
it
like
out of the way.
again.
But his he threw one interception this game, and his attempt to tackle was quite frankly insane. It very much looked like the tackle attempt of a man who has never played football before. like,
I feel like he's doing it on purpose at this point.
I can't tell if he's ribbing us or his adrenaline must be like he needs to be his adrenaline must be like substantially higher than the average human being in general, because there is no reason a guy with his history should be tackling like that. Like, it looks like the tackle of a guy who gets on Twitter, is totally unathletic, and gets on Twitter to go, yeah, I could tackle an NFL player. That's what his tackle looked like.
No, that's
Like
nasty.
the way he just like is sideways and leading with his head. I'm like,
So that's one of them elite media tackles. That's crazy.
but yeah, all jokes aside, yeah, he had a pretty solid game. 20 for 28 on pass attempts, 207 yards, one interception, but also one touchdown. But I wanted to shout out his play specifically because, the huge holdup with him and this Miami offense, which is, when they've been rolling under Mike McDaniels, track speed, explosive, stretching the field in every direction. But their offense, even with Tua, really has underperformed this year, especially the run game. In this game, too, same thing happened. Devon Achane only had 37 yards on 12 rushes. But I don't have the numbers in front of me. I couldn't find something specific. But even just watching the film, he was actually Tua. I mean, was actually very good outside of structure. Um, I couldn't find the stat again, but I saw a stat where he threw over, I think he threw like 10 passes with a time to throw of over 2.5 seconds. That qualifies as a quick throw. That is their whole thing. And again, this could be misinformation. I think he made at least 6 or 7 of them. One of them was the interception, but essentially, in order to win this game, he needed to be good when the play broke down. And yeah, he was quite good. I don't know how you, I know you're not a huge Tua supporter, but this game I think was very positive for me in ways I didn't expect.
I was more surprised that like the Rams weren't as like dynamic as at least the stat sheet recommended, at least with Puka and Stafford. The only glaring thing is that
Also true, yeah.
they didn't get any. At least Stafford didn't get any touchdowns, which felt really bizarre. Looking at the stat sheet, I didn't get to watch it though, so I don't really know if there was like a schematic like difference or what the injury report looked like. But it just seemed like a weird outlier game.
It was weird, but I think Stafford at this point of his career, I think we are always, understandably, because it's very fun to focus on the games where he is great and he makes all of his tight window throws. The flip side of that is you will still get 2 to 4 games a season. This happened the past 2 seasons too. You're going to get at least one of these games where he doesn't make these throws, and one or two of those might be a touchdown usually. Like think of the Vikings game. Yeah, he was making a lot of throws in that game. But again, and we forget that Stafford is getting up there in age, and so he can't do all the things he used to be able to do in terms of extending plays per se. But yeah, I was very surprised by the quarterback play on the Miami side in this game. Yeah, what direction would you like to go? Who have you got for this week?
You started most recently, so I'll go with the oldest game on the queue here. The Bengals
Mm.
Ravens is a fantastic Thursday night game. very surprising to be able to say that, given that we usually stayed at Thursday nights. But my winner was Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase. Hey, I had him too because
Just God on the fucking. He went fucking God mode on the goddamn Baltimore secondary, man. 11 receptions on 17 targets, 264 fucking yards, three tutties, an average of 24 yards a catch.
101 yards after the catch. It's
Yeah,
insane. And
and
none of those are career highs, which is crazy.
they still lost that game, which again it really gives me credence that neither of those two people should be on the Bengals. They should like vehemently ask like, "Hey, I need out of here." And
I
go ahead.
no, keep going. I,
Really, my main question was, you know, is like how close is the number one spot in terms of receivers between him and Justin Jefferson?
mhm.
And really just watching it, it made me think like how nuts it is to have both of those guys on a team at the same time.
Before we move on from Chase, only other note I did have his stats down. Only other note I had is he bet on himself, and now he's going to be the highest paid receiver in league history because
Yes,
Cincinnati has to pay him now.
like
I think
what
they're
if they don't, bro? Like what if they don't? That's the weird part because
no.
they
I'm kind of glad that's where you went because what I also wanted to say to this discussion is, I've been not super. I've been very mildly skeptical of this team's ceiling, and like I think I let that leak into how I was viewing Joe Burrow. And what has become clear the past 4 weeks is we thought this entire team was better, but it is now like I'm sure some people have already thought this for at least a year, maybe even two. It's very clear that it's literally Burrow and Chase elevating what we think about the rest of this team. And I guess for what it's worth, Trey Hendrickson too on the defensive side. Actually, I guess that's a very apt metaphor. The same way, like on both sides of the ball, the Bengals have stars that have very clearly papered over what we view as what might be schematic flaws or just talent gaps. I think
yeah.
it's very clear. Like I don't know which it is, schematic or talent, but it's one or both.
They're
And
they're already not paying two of the corners that were up for extensions. Two,
mhm,
I forget their names, but there's two corners that were eligible for extensions, and the Bengals weren't biting on that at all. So I don't know how certain it is that they're like, yeah, we want to give Jamar Chase when we haven't even begun to address the defense. We haven't addressed the O line all the way, and I don't know. It's complicated, and if frankly, if you lose Jamar Chase, I don't understand like
mhm.
what would make Joe Burrow inclined to
I
stick.
was yeah, that was my next step. I was going to say that you already paid Joe Burrow, so you really have to pay Jamar Chase because then otherwise,
What did you
what are we?
like? I don't know.
What was this for? Yeah.
Right, and I mean that's where I was emphasizing like he should be the one to change the NFL structure of things in terms of how we understand trades within the league.
Mm,
Because we're so often used to the inverse in the NBA, for instance, where it's like it's solely a transactional type of league, whereas the NFL they almost like explicitly go against that, especially on a QB side of things. So
mm,
I think he could set a pretty strong precedent where it's like I'm one of the five best QBs in the league. What the fuck is y'all's problem? I would rather go to you know, I think like I mentioned like as a joke, I was like I wanted to see him on the Vikings, but like why not? Like why wouldn't he be like, hey, Jefferson's over there, fuck it, why not? Or like I don't know, literally fucking anywhere else because it doesn't strike me as a very serious team.
All right. Well, speaking of bad team building, I've got a team that's my first loser for Week 10. That is the Chicago Bears. Um, they lost 19-3 at home to the New England Patriots. That is the second week in a row they have set a season low in points. And again, mind you, in week 9, they played the Arizona Cardinals, who their defense has looked a lot better the past 4 or 5 weeks, but still not, objectively speaking, a great defense. Similarly with the Patriots, they have not. They've been very disappointing, really, this year. Um, the Patriots had 8 sacks in their previous 6 games. They had 9 in this game, bro. 9. Like what
I was gonna
I
say
didn't.
like that's
Like, what?
that feels
It's
impossible.
preposterous, right? What? Like.
And I
But
mean
yes.
that's been my bigger issue with how they discuss Caleb Williams in general because like I don't know how comfortable you could really be criticizing a quarterback who got sacked 9 fucking times, and it's not really like we saw in the last game that the Bears had that Caleb Williams is more than capable of stretching out the football field. It's just
Mhm.
like you need time to be able to get the fuck out the pocket in the first place, and I mean, when you're getting sacked by like the fourth or fifth sack, like eventually you're gonna get like a little tight in that pocket. So I don't know. Naturally, like I don't know. He's too fucking talented not to be great.
Not to.
This isn't to let him off the hook because he does have some like
No, he
shoddy
hasn't.
tendencies.
He
He has some
hasn't been
shoddy
great this
tendencies.
season. Yeah.
He has some shoddy tendencies with the deep ball, but a lot of it, again, can really be traced to a bad offensive line, some shoddy tendencies that carried with him even in college, which is why I was
Hmm.
skeptical of him heading into the draft despite his raw talent. And again, bad play calling that we've been talking about all year, not being able to run the
We have
fucking
been talking
football.
about this almost every other week. For what it's worth, for anybody who didn't hear, the Bears did fire Shane Waldron earlier this morning as recording this on Tuesday. I brought this up. I forgot if this was exactly last week or 2 weeks ago. Earlier this season, I did bring up how I didn't like how the Bears' offense was looking. It was way too conservative, but also wasn't efficient. And then it's become yeah. At some point in the last 2 weeks, I forgot what episode I brought up how this season is already a failure of sorts because it's clear that Caleb isn't developing the way you want a rookie QB. Like regardless of the stature per se, this is just not good development for a quarterback. And I'm again not to absolve Williams of any fault, but I think we're talking about a guy who in his last season at USC didn't look very good because he was playing a lot of hero ball because USC had such a talent gap versus the teams around them. And so, you get it to the NFL and he's playing the same way, playing like quote hero ball, but he's holding onto the ball too long. And it's, the previous Chicago Bears quarterback was often criticized for holding onto the ball too long. um, yeah, I don't know. This is I'll say
It's
this, take it from the New York Jets. It's very easy to point fingers.
yeah,
It's very clear, but at some point it becomes very clear that the buck is going to get passed down, and eventually it's going to be you. And when I'm talking, and I'm talking to, I'm talking to Matt Everflus and Ryan Poles right now. Like you're not going to fire enough people to save your job, man.
yeah. I saw a report that like some of the veterans are already calling for Tyson Bagent to get in instead of
Yeah.
him, which some people were speculating it was DJ Moore. DJ Moore should be having a bigger season than he is, but
So I think what it's fun. It's funny. You know me. Like I just really by accident I follow like a handful of Seahawks like people on Twitter. But it's funny to see the vast majority of them go like, "Oh wow, they did it. They figured it out pretty fast." in terms
right.
of firing, in terms of firing Shane Waldron. I thought that was so funny, but I mean, hindsight being 2020, of course, just it makes a lot of sense because Shane Waldron, to be clear, isn't a bad offensive coordinator, but it became very clear at some point this season that the success of that Seahawks offense the past 2 years was down to talent, and especially with Geno, a hyper veteran at quarterback, and you just can't expect a rookie quarterback, regardless of who it is. Like it doesn't matter that this is Caleb Williams. Like it could, there's no example because there's no rookie quarterbacks who do this. Even Shroud, we see his struggling in his sophomore year. And, instead of, at least for us, speaking for us, like we don't see that as a problem. We see that as normal because the success last year is the outlier.
Yeah.
But the problem is, they have really stunted Caleb Williams' growth with this really poor. And also, I don't know if we said this. We said this about the Jets, that maybe we overrated their offense. And this Bears skill group, I'm gonna put my hands up and say I was wrong too, because yeah, we definitely overrated these guys. I
I
don't know if it's
don't
like an,
I don't know if that's like I don't know. Like Roma Dunze is as good as we imagine he is, and DJ Moore is as good as we imagine he is. Cole
but
Komet is,
like,
but like
I don't know. DJ Moore, I think, can still be very good for this team, but I don't. I'm not blaming him per se. This is definitely like a collective, like, the bad scheming has really like affected every facet of this offense. Keenan Allen too. I feel like they wanted him to have a bigger role in this offense, and it's clear at his age, like he can still be a contributor, but I think they wanted him to be like a star receiver, and I just don't think you're going to get that out of him at
It
this point.
feels
And
kind of insane to even plan that, really, especially when you've
you
got
see,
two
yeah,
guys.
right, yeah.
I don't know. It felt like he should have been a complimentary piece this whole time, and that's how I
Mm-hmm.
expected them to use him. And I don't know. It's weird,
I
but
still, I don't know why my head is wrapping around this, but I still can't get over the fact that they signed DeAndre Swift in the offseason. Like, what was the point of that? There was no point to that.
so you laid up a pretty obvious and easy transition for me.
Yeah.
While we're in the bag of talking about bad play calling and bad running and bad
Oh, buddy.
ball running.
Oh, buddy. We
Bobby
might have to
Slow,
pack this guy up.
Bobby
Yes.
Slow,
Yep.
it's
I'm
fucking over.
sorry, man.
It's over, bro. Like
Robert Slowik, I'm sorry. You got to get your ass out here back to PFF, brother. I'm sorry, man.
he called so many net negative running plays. It felt insane that he just kept doing it
I'm,
anyway.
I'm going to let you cook on the emotional end here because I know you got it, but Joe Mixon had a bad game, 46 yards and 25 carries. That is
Oh,
1.8
wait, what?
yards per.
Yes,
But it's like they're running. He's just going to do what the coordinator tells him to do. You know what I mean?
he
So
only
yeah,
had
Mixon didn't have a good game for sure, but
also like his high was only 8 fucking yards. So like it it does seem like the play calling's not great.
no, it's
I feel like if you run the ball 25 times, you should have more than 46 yards.
it was giving big Sean McVay wanting Cam Akers to kill himself in that Super Bowl vibes. Like, just stop running the ball, man. I have something that's going to hurt your head because it hurt my head when I had to compile this. The Texans' average yardage on third downs. You ready for this? So they actually weren't horrible, which is impressive. They were 6 for 15 on third downs. The yardage on those downs, I'm going to read them down to you individually: 10, 16, 11, 10, 10, 21, 10, 9, 8, and 1, 26, 9, 10, 6, and 4. Their average yardage on third downs was to start, like, with third to go, is 10.7, man.
there,
That's insane.
there is some offensive verbiage that could be said for Bobby Slowik. Um, and for the sake of both of us, I don't think it's right to say it, but like what's even worse is that Nico Collins is going to save that guy's job.
Yeah.
Nico Collins is going to come back and he's going to save that motherfucker's job, and it lets me know like how unserious this is because he showed this on prime time. It's not like we could chuck this in a 3 o'clock game and ignore it. We saw how fraudulent he is as an offensive coordinator in the spotlight, which contrasts to my winner that I can roll straight into. My big takeaway was that Texans defense is fucking legit.
Mm-hmm.
No Will Anderson or Mario Edwards. Still got some very strong pressures from Daniil Hunter, Aziz Al Shair, Jerry Hughes, D'Amico
Daniil
Austin.
Hunter had an absolutely insane double move. Granted, like, it was on Panay Sewell too. I
Yeah,
think he I forget if he cut or swims to his right, and then he does a spin to get around to the other side. I was like, holy shit.
and stuff like that allowed for that Texans secondary to make some incredible fucking plays,
Yes.
like
Mm-hmm.
namely from Jimmy Ward and from Kamari Lassiter, who had a great game with 2 picks
Mm-hmm.
and 2 pass deflections, if I remember correctly.
Isn't it funny to say, like, I know we agree on this, but Goff threw 5 picks, and I still don't know. He still really didn't have a bad game if you
It
watched
doesn't
it.
it doesn't feel awful because they just made some incredible plays on the fucking football. Like
Like, yeah, like they earned those turnovers.
you could not ask for better plays on the ball like that, especially that
Yeah.
one where the linebacker got the tip ball and ran that
Oh,
back.
I think it was Goff's third. pick. Yeah, to I forget somebody tips it at the line and it falls
Yeah,
to Henry To'oTo'o. Yeah,
some of that is just victims of circumstance, which
hmm
tough. But it's definitely not going to look good when we previously thought of this guy on MVP terms so far this year. So it's not going to look great for him. But really, if that's the degree that we're working at, you couldn't ask for better from a defense.
yeah. Oh, Bobby Slowik, man.
Oh, it's over.
Yeah,
We
it's
sent we
over.
sent him to Uzbekistan, bro.
He's got to get a somehow get a low stakes coordinator job or become an offensive assistant for one of the big guys. Like
Oh, yeah,
if Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan makes room in the staff, then give him like a year to like really rethink that.
we're sending
Because
his ass to Northwestern. Sorry.
I mean, hey, it worked out. It worked out for Kingsbury going back to college and then becoming a coordinator again. And it's like like for some people, like I don't view that as a backhanded compliment. I think like we can comfortably say it really has worked out for Kingsbury. Like he's found, like I think Kingsbury can still be a head coach if he wants, but it's kind of a Spagnolo thing. Like, nah,
I don't
you're
think he
perfect
should.
here.
Yeah.
Like you're perfect here. Like
What's
really, you're perfect.
What's rough is I think because of the Caleb Williams factor of it, I do think that he's going to find that Bears job that's going to open up to be very attractive. So I don't know. I think what's best for him is to stick
Damn,
in
dude. It's
in
because
the
you guys have the
offense.
same name. Why do you hate Caleb? You want Caleb Williams to go from Shane Waldron to Bobby Slowick?
Oh
That's
no,
just.
I was talking about Kingsbury.
Oh, I was about to say, holy God. I was like,
No,
holy God. You hate
no.
this guy. That's crazy.
The last thing I want is for Bobby Slowik to end up in another prominent position. He needs to be like a little lower on the cards.
I guess to be fair, since we're playing Sims with coaches right now, Kingsbury with with a real experienced defensive guy could work, but we won't know unless it happens.
Yeah.
I've only got one more winner because we've molded two of ours together, but this one's real short and simple. It's Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin because I gotta clap it up for him. Like he stood on business. He was consistent. They called Russell Wilson the starting quarterback at the beginning of the year. Was injured, came back, but more specifically, he created an environment where Wilson's skill set, as much of the complaints that we personally have about him, he created a team environment where his skill set would thrive. And we get a thumbs up to the Mike Williams trade, and guy caught a winning touchdown. But like really, like this team looks like it was built for him.
Yeah.
Kudos to him.
Really, the thing that I wanted to note about Mike Tomlin was the stones to go on 4th and 1, where the Commanders could have got the ball back and went ahead and pulled a cadence move and had
Yeah.
rookie Newton bite on it to seal the fucking game.
Yeah.
That takes some real fucking stones to pull off, and I don't know. That sort of let me know how interesting that team could be theoretically.
Yeah. Just I don't know if we've talked about it on this, between us on here, but we talked about this like just even outside of the pod. But Tomlin continues to be one of the best coaches in the NFL, and it's clear that there is. I'll just go ahead and say this: I don't think there's a talent problem in the NFL at all. I think we're actually like in a like a golden age, not a golden age, but like there's a lot of talent everywhere, like at every position, mostly every position. But it's clear that there's a lot of bad coaching for sure, and the best teams in the league, like I don't know, let me I don't know, like if I looked it up right now, the Chiefs are undefeated, the Lions are 8-1, the Bills are 7-6-3, 7-2. The Ravens are 6-3. The best teams in the league aren't just flash in the pan guys. Even look at the Vikings and Kevin O'Connell. It's head coaches that
Um,
have like real programs per
yeah,
se, and not just like we have the guys and we're gonna achieve X
I
doing
mean,
X. Because it's like looking. I think a lot of people look at football like that right now. And that's very like stocks based, which I don't love, obviously. But yeah, Mike
Yeah,
Tomlin.
I mean, you could include, despite the Bobby Slowik issue, you can include the Texans in that
You can include, yes,
yeah,
absolutely,
because
yeah.
of the culture that their head coach, D'Amico Ryan, installed there. Like, I don't know, people want to play for these teams because it's like, I don't know, like it's not a bunch of fucking idiots throwing darts at the fucking board.
Hmm.
My next loser, um, I'm glad we were finally able to nip the shit in the bud. Sam Darnold,
Hmm.
your Linsanity run is over.
Oh, it's
Um,
shame.
bro almost lost to the fucking Jaguars.
Jaguars. Oh man.
241 yards, 3 picks, 0 touchdowns. You can tell, and when I was watching the footage on that, you can tell that he's desperate because he's forcing the fuck out of the football to the two tight ends, and
I
that's
don't.
and that's usually the mark of a quarterback who's like lost his touch a little bit.
I don't have the stat in front of me, but I did remember reading something that Sam Darnold was like one of the top five QBs in the league in EPA against man coverage. And the flip side of that is, he's throwing to Justin Jefferson, Jordan
Yeah,
Addison, Shayla Naylor, and DJ Hawkinson now. So I we at least I said early some point this season, he's going to get a good contract. Like we thought he could play himself into a great contract.
is he?
What's clear is that at the very least, like he's going to get a starting job somewhere, but it's not going to be super consequential. I think.
Are we are we sure? Like, are we
Well,
positive? Are we pot? I mean, I don't know. We've still got
look,
the
I just want to remind you that Daniel Jones does make 40 million US dollars a year. Like
valid.
that's a thing. That is a thing.
And he is
To
he
be
is
clear,
my
it's a thing.
he is my last loser on this. I'll go ahead and transition to that.
I appreciate that you even bothered because
He is he is like I watched that game. Getting those early games have been good for me because I'm already up and awake and writing and whatnot for work. And while I'm like in between articles and stuff, I'll watch Daniel Jones with the football, and I'm like, this is the worst quarterback in the fucking football league. The most scared money guy behind center. There is
yeah.
countless fucking opportunities in that Carolina game where the receivers turn around when the play's over and they throw their fucking hands up in fury because they're like, I was wide the fuck open. And then when he finally stops being so fucking scary, he throws hospital balls to Malik Neighbors and almost gets his ass out the fucking game again. And he just came back like 2 games ago after a concussion. Like, what are you doing? I don't know. He's terrified to make these very easy reads downfield to wide open fucking guys, and he takes a sack instead like a moron. So if it's not a 5 yard check down, then fucking forget about it. The second half was a little bit better, but like again, he's throwing bullshit hospital balls to people, so he's incompetent. It's over. The
This is the
reason he
most
almost
I've.
won, the only reason he almost won that game was because of Tracy Hyde, and even he coughed the shit up at the end. He took that shit way too close to heart when I was like, "You're the
Tyrone
reason."
Tracy is going to be a Giants legend for fumbling that ball and losing that game and getting them a higher draft pick. So as far as I'm concerned,
He's
as
gonna
far as
get
I'm concerned, they won that game.
he's gonna get Brian Dable fired, and I'm not gonna say he doesn't deserve it, but the buck doesn't stop at Brian Dable.
It's still such a funny decision in retrospect. Like at the time, everyone was like, "Why would you pay Daniel Jones?" And even as the QB market has exploded, it still looks really bad.
It still looks bad. Like I don't
It
know.
still looks really
Like that
bad.
last season where he was like decent was not good enough to warrant this.
I'll say my only thing with Darnold is who's at the bottom of the league right now. The Pats have May already. You got the Raiders, you got the Titans, you got the Browns. Who am I missing?
I mean,
Oh,
Panthers, but maybe Bryce
Panthers.
Young's on the up and up.
Oh, that's really awkward. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't happen there. But at the very least, Darnold has earned himself more than. That's funny actually, because yeah, what I guess we talked. I feel like we've talked about it's like what do you pay a like a stopgap quarterback in 2024?
Yeah,
But those teams do have money, so it's like if I'm one of those teams, I'm going to draft a quarterback and sign Sam Darnold because there's no one else to sign other than it's like him and Tyrod Taylor and
yeah. He's
maybe Brissett still, but I'm not sure anymore.
I don't know.
Definitely not Minshew. Definitely not Minshew.
You know what's funny is I still think he'll fuck around and get a decent backup job, and then it will
Yeah,
repeat the
yeah.
cycle again when he subs in for like Derek Carr or some shit. Um, yeah. Did you have another loser or
I don't
winner?
have anything else, but you just gave me the funny thought of Sam Darnold and Derek Carr being in the same QB room.
I'm not Darnold. I meant Gardner Minshew. Sam
Oh,
Darnold. I
I was
think.
going to say, holy God.
Yeah, no. Sam
All in
Darnold.
the entire state of Louisiana. That is crazy.
Darnold will be in. He'll be with the Raiders or he'll be with the Titans. Is where I figure.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, my I've got two more winners after this. I will
Who we
do
got?
first. I will do a callback to last week where I went very abstract in my choice of winner. I will be repeating this again this week. Devil Magic has once again won in
What?
Kansas City. They didn't run the football very well. I think Kareem Hunt only averaged a flat 3 yards a carry, and Mahomes got a lot of pressure from a really good Broncos defense. Um, they made do with like these real short yardage type plays, a lot of check downs or a lot of like flat type of slant type situations. And then they got the most miraculous piece of shit field goal block that I've ever seen in my life. And this doesn't make me feel good to say, but this comes on top of pretty solid Bo Nix game. Like
He was actually.
he looked
It's
pretty good
hilarious that Bo Nix had arguably his best game of his career so far
against the best fucking defense in the
against one of the
league.
best defenses in the league, and he still lost. Honestly, hilarious. Hilarious, honestly.
Yeah,
Um,
it'll be a cold day in hell before I give him a winner, but he looked he looked pretty good, and I don't know. Maybe it's part of me where it's like I can't allow Bo Nix to be the person to knock off that undefeated streak, but another part of me is like this is deep evil that we're witnessing every week.
the Chiefs are really stress testing my complaint of a lot of teams in the first 3 weeks that were just like running dumb offenses. Like, yeah, you got to be more efficient. You got to run the ball and you got to do the quick game. The Chiefs are really stress testing this. Yeah, we're gonna get 5 yards of play. I'm like, wait, well, not like that, man. Jesus, not the entire goddamn game. Holy shit, man.
That's
These guys are
all.
averaging like I think Patrick Mahomes at least last week for sure, and I'm probably going to guess this week too. I'm pretty sure he averages the lowest air yardage of any quarterback in the league right now, like of any quarterback in the league, which I understand given the team, but holy crap, how are they still winning games? This is
This
insane.
is it's witchcraft, is what it is. Because like that
God.
offense is not. It's creative in like a very like smug sort of way. It doesn't
And
make
yeah,
me feel good to say that. My last winner will be an offense that I adore to pieces, and I think they'll be great within a year or two.
mm-hmm,
Um, I want to shout out Kyler Murray and Drew Petzing, the offensive
mm-hmm,
coordinator for
mm-hmm,
that Cardinals team. I was listening to the CBS reporter during that game, and he was talking about, or she was talking about, how Murray has bought into the Petzing playbook, how him and Gannon sat down with him, and he was like, "Listen, like you don't got to do that Superman shit all the fucking time." He was like, "We know you can, but let me show you why you don't have to, and here's how we're gonna do it." And the reporter was stressing, like, "Yeah, Murray himself admitted that I was doing a lot of Superman shit before because I felt like I had
mm-hmm,
to, and now he's really bought into that system, and it's been very evident in these last two games, especially. Beat the Bears off the strength of the run game with James Conner, who has the most
mm-hmm,
broken tackles in the league, mind you. And now he burnt the fuck out the Jets by their inability to tackle a football player and through pure air yardage. 22 out of 22 for 24, incredibly efficient. 266 yards, 12 yards average. Everybody ate off of this too. Trey McBride is the next breakout tight end this year. He was
mm-hmm,
smoking New York all game. Good dump off action to James Conner when his rushes weren't putting much of a dent into anything. So they swapped him on the run yard side of things with Trey Benson, who I imagine they'll replace Connor after the season. Maybe they'll resign him, but I don't think they have to. Um,
mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't have to, but like,
my because Trey Benson looked good enough where like he was able to ditch a lot of those tackles too. I just think Connor's a little better at it because more experience. He played for the fucking Steelers, so um, my and I want to note Marvin Harrison Jr. had a good game too. 5 receptions, 54 yards, and a touchdown. He's still one of the big outliers in this offense so far, which is my main critique. He's sort of teetered between solid and super quiet outside of two incredible games against the Rams and the Dolphins. I'm still not sure where and how much blame each side, each person gets in this, whether it's Kyler overlooking him completely, if it's like a route thing on Petsing's side of things, or if it's a route thing even on Marvin's side of things. I don't know. Or maybe it's just playing good coverage. I don't know. But I still love this Arizona offense because everybody's eating off of it. And Trey McBride looks amazing as a go-to guy. Marvin Harrison has strong potential to be a great WR1 or at least a WR2 for years to come.
Yeah, I think uh, fans' criticisms or desire to want to see Marvin Harrison Jr. be more productive are warranted. And yeah, like I'm honestly still not sure what the it's a non-issue, but like also it's an issue. Kind of like I don't know where that lies, but especially the early on in the season, especially after was it the opening game of the season,
Yeah,
he had no catches, right? Or he had one
he
catch
had
and it was for
he had
short
one,
yardage.
he had one catch for 4 yards.
Wasn't even like a first down, yeah. But it's clear that teams already kind of respect him in terms of coverage. Like he always gets like cornerback, he always gets CB1 or he gets doubled, especially in zone. Like he gets handed off to every guy to the next guy at every level. Um, and yeah, I think the Cardinals have Drew Petzing and Kyler Murray together are kind of hitting at like a medium between. They're not playing too close to the floor. They're not hitting the hypothetical ceiling, but I think they've been really physical. Drew Pet, they've relied a lot on the run game, which has been really good. But also in the past game, they do a lot of like heavy personnel stuff. I love that. I love that stuff running out like 2, 3 tight end sets. But it has been really good in terms of, it's weird because they're one of the only teams in the NFL who are good like at really controlling games like this. Their defense still, we'll see how they perform down the stretch. I'm still skeptical about it, but they are getting like pretty good mid-level performances out of that defense right now. But
Yeah.
on the offensive side of things, like yeah, they're holding onto the ball. Like they don't have a lot of 3 and outs, which is a
Mm-hmm.
big problem for I don't know, keep it at home. Like the Chargers have a big problem with 3 and outs. They're not physical enough on offense. But yeah, this I'm just trying to imagine what I would do differently about this Cardinals offense, and I can't imagine anything else other than sign another wide receiver per
Yeah,
se.
like which
so, which is why I'm not really like up in a frenzy about them at all.
they're treating Michael Wilson as like their WR2, who I think is better as like a
I think
slot
he's good. I
WR3
think
type.
yes, exactly.
Where I don't know, like again, effective. He had a pretty quiet game, only 3 receptions, 24 yards. But yeah, I think just another dude. I think will at least open up the field for Marvin Harrison Jr. in a way that he's currently doing that for somebody like Trey McBride, who is really really feasting off of great dump off actions to James Conner or Trey Benson. And when Marvin Harrison is clamped up like that, like he's always available in the middle of the field breaking tackles. Like there was a few different plays during that Jets game where he's like just shade. I don't know. It's just as simple as a post route, and he's shaking the fuck out of 3 dudes.
Mm-hmm. Welcome back to Arizona, Christian Kirk. I got you. Hypothetically, it's really not a dumb move, honestly.
That
It's
honestly
really not a dumb move.
it sounds like a great move.
It'd be really good, actually.
I think
So that would be the most one of the most hilarious moves in NFL history if he came back to this team.
or they can get like if I would want to see their cap situation. I'm pretty sure they look pretty good on that front, but
I think they're middle of the league. They have room. Yeah.
you could get a little sexy and see what T Higgins is going for on the market.
Hmm.
If you really wanted to get frisky on that side of things, I would personally just invest all my money on the defensive side
In
of
the
things.
defense, yeah.
I think the offense speaks for itself, where you can grow that as high as you want, or you can keep it as safe as you want with again those big Trey McBride games.
In a weird way, they're like Steelers. They're like diet Steelers.
Yeah,
Whereas but they did it the opposite way. Like they have the physical offense, but they need to have the physical defense now too.
yeah. Which
But I think
Gannon's that kind of guy to make
Gannon
that
is that
sort of
kind of guy. Yeah.
system. Yeah,
Like I think Harbaugh's gotten a lot of credit because and Jesse Minter obviously because this Chargers defense has gone from like historically bad to pretty damn good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the same with the Cardinals should be like a like three defense really on paper, and they're like below league average, which is really pretty impressive, all things
No,
considered.
it's pretty funny that you mentioned the Chargers because I do think they'd share a lot of commonalities. The only difference is that you've got conservative ass offensive coordinating versus what they do over with Drew Petzing.
All right, well, yeah, NFL Week 10. This season has been crazy. I just want to say for anybody listening, I really hate like this is like the umpteenth time I'm going to complain about something on social media. I should just ignore. But I don't know if you saw this too. Somebody like because he went not semi-viral, but got a lot of engagement. Somebody tweeted like, "Damn, the NFL product right now is so bad." And I'm like, if I saw you in person, I would yell at you. I
I,
might even
I,
slap.
I,
Like, what the fuck is your problem?
I watched
What are
the
you
NBA.
watching?
I watched the NBA, so I know about bad product.
Yeah, honestly,
I used to watch wrestling every other week. I know what bad product looks like.
that's true, man. Oof. Post COVID wrestling, like the last 3 years. Oh God, like why would you watch that?
You really
Oof.
got to pick your spots. Like I don't understand how people watch the whole show,
Like
especially
every week,
like
every week.
every week. Like I don't know, mind you, that's different. But like I don't even watch every pay per view anymore. That's the big because
Oh
again,
yeah,
you still got to pick your spots. But like I can't
like
even begin. I can't fathom how somebody could spend every week watching Monday Night Raw.
it just irritates me because growing up with 2000s football, like late 90s, early 2000s NFL was not very good, man. It was not very good. Like the Jake Delhomme led Panthers made a Super Bowl, man. Like today, they would be like a wild card team. Like, come on, man. Like, let's be fucking real. Come on.
Yeah, which I think lends. I think that era does lend to your big figurehead types where it's like, yeah,
Like, there was
You
more
got
like
Jake
quote
Delhomme, but like,
star power.
yeah,
Maybe like there's more recognizable faces. But even in our era right now, I think defenses are maybe just like I don't want to sound like a total football psycho, but I think it's true. Like the casual watcher has been conditioned, whether it's the fans' fault or the league's fault in the way they've packaged it, to
yeah,
think that it needs to be explosive offense every week. But we're getting some really great defensive play too. Like
yeah.
there's great teams in the league right
See,
now.
see, I don't think it's a star power issue because you've got stars on both defense and offense.
And offense, yeah.
I think the big difference is like when you talk about that late '90s, early 2000s sort of football. Really, that tough time only just it opened up a lane for your big stars to come in. So once you reach at about 08, 09, you've got Tom Brady, you've got Breeze, you got Manning,
Mm.
you got Roethlisberger, you even got fucking Tony Romo, who made people care about the Cowboys for way longer than people should have. So yeah, I mean, really, it's like that sort of dry spell is what's necessary for a lot of, and any
Mm.
sports, any sports association, particularly the NBA, who's about to lose LeBron, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and then what are you left with? Devin Booker, Tyrese
Devin
Halliburton.
Booker,
Like
SGA, Doncic, like
I'm saying, like
uh,
really, I like watching Jokic because he's a wizard with the ball, but like Doncic
mm.
is just white James Harden. Like Tyrese Halliburton,
Oh
the
man.
milk merchant. Like it's not. I don't know. It's not my thing. When you're only cool guy, I think here's the problem, and here's what's always been cool about the NFL and really getting into it lately, as is you don't have like every team doesn't have the same style. Like when I watch the Chargers, I don't confuse them with the Raiders. When I watch the Chiefs, I don't confuse
Mm.
them with the Bills. When I watch even like within the divisions, like AFC North is like you can argue that it's, pretty the same in terms of culture and defensive style, but like I'm not confusing the Ravens with the Bengals. The Bengals were always it's distinct like, oh, we've got offensive firepower, defense is another thing. The Steelers and the Ravens, that's a rivalry because they both, have those same ideals, but they do it differently. It's the NBA doesn't have that. because it's all the same in terms of how you're trying to get the bucket. Watching the Boston Celtics really makes that evident. Where I'm watching guys, it's like you break it down to a formula, and nobody wants to watch a formula every week.
I just thought of something funny, and my thought was, I'm always talking about how the NBA needs a Marvin Lewis. Anyway,
Talk about Doc Rivers like that.
who
That's disrespectful to Doc,
do you? I was gonna say, like, who do we? Who do
even
you
on my
respect?
standards, it's pretty disrespectful to Doc, and I can't
All right.
stand Doc. He should be fired again.
Lest we forget, Democratic Party consultant Doug Anyway, moving on to the 2 minute warning. Moving on from this week's winners and losers. I couldn't pick one, but we got three marquee games for this week.
I picked two of them. I wonder what your third one is because I'm sure we share the other two.
Well, I didn't look at the schedule hard, so I might have missed like one on a Sunday game. But I think the three like obvious headlines are Chiefs Bills. Goes without saying. But like two really interesting matches. One should grab some headlines in Ravens Steelers, and a real this might be the perverted game of the week. Falcons Broncos is kind of interesting to me as well. Where do you want to start? I'll let you take the reins.
I did look there. So we actually didn't share. I had Chiefs Bills, but my other
I
one.
mean, that goes without saying, really. Yeah.
So to be honest, I was expecting you to pick the 49ers and the Seahawks to be a real nasty guy like that. But
Oof.
all these are good.
That one's interesting in a way we didn't think it would be, but like before the season, because now both teams are struggling, and so like I've kind of as like the not from Seattle Seahawks homer, I've accepted that the Seahawks expectations for the rest of the season should be reasonably low. But also the Niners are still like in a funk that I'm even with McCaffrey getting back over the week,
So
he didn't look great.
somebody said it looked like he ran like he got mud butt, which definitely seemed like.
I do want to say Purdy had one of the most insane rainbow throws I've ever seen in my life when he hit Purdy like on the right sideline. Did you like what? That was like Steph Curry like
Yeah,
rainbow three like territory. Like what was that?
that man's nice.
Oh man, he's not going to win MVP anymore, but man, Purdy
No,
is
but
a
he definitely.
spiritual MVP. Spiritual MVP.
I do feel like we've got a pretty clear MVP, but we'll get to that later in the season. I'm sure. We have a pretty obvious pick there. But
What was the other game you had?
in terms of your picks, I didn't pick the Falcons Broncos because I thought that was a little too perverted even for me. Um, and Ravens Steelers, I think that'll be a great game, but it's a great game for like it's going to be one of those like 9-3 type of good games where it's like, damn, this shit's kind of
See,
boring,
I
but then
think usually they're like that, but the Ravens have gotten into two shootouts, which they've narrowly won against Cincinnati this season alone. And the Steelers, again, I'm not sure what the ceiling is for their offense,
yeah,
but more so against this Baltimore secondary, which really has not been good this
that's
season, and they're getting worse. Really, they're not improving at all. And so when you see that performance from Pickens and Mike Williams, it could get really interesting because
Yeah, I'm so used to like these two massive edge rushers on both sides of the field. Just going back and forth like, oh yeah, we've got T.J. Watt and Patrick Queen versus this guy, and it's that's been that way since I was a little kid. Like oh,
yeah.
we've got Ray Lewis and Haloti Ngata versus James Harrison and all these guys, but potentially I've taught myself to temper my
Oh, I mean,
expectations.
I understand. Yeah.
My other game,
Yeah.
and maybe it's because we had a good one recently, but Kami's Eagles on Thursday has
Could be, yeah. I did see that. It could be interesting. I mean,
most
especially the Commanders coming off a tough, close,
they
but
almost
tough
won,
loss.
they almost won against a very strong Pittsburgh defense that game. So I don't think it's out of the question for Washington to hang with Philly, especially if Sirianni does Sirianni stuff.
I was
Um,
going to say the flip side is, again, been very critical of Philly, but they've looked a lot better the past 4 weeks. And, coming off a real big, like, I'm sorry, Cowboys fans, but truthfully, just a real confidence booster against Dallas. Like, who knows? Yeah.
If nothing else, I think both offenses are dynamic enough to exploit the other's defensive weaknesses to where I think the game could really go either way. And obviously, divisional game, those games are always tight just by nature.
Hmm. I'd say the only thing with the Eagles is it's really surprising how much this team needs Saquon Barkley because,
Yeah.
I think just to randomly interject this here, offensive player of the year is probably going to go to, at this rate, is probably going to go to Saquon or Derrick Henry. And I'm not mad at either. I think Henry is technically the correct option per se,
Yeah.
but this Eagles offense really relies on Saquon because the games they've lost this season are games where he's not making a huge impact. Versus the Ravens, like the argument against Henry in this conversation is that he is elevating Lamar, but also vice versa. But yeah, this Eagles offense for how good they are, and they have been good. They've been better the second half of the season so far. Yeah, man, when like Saquon, like they'll still do some dumb shit where they're like trying to force the ball outside the numbers on early downs, and they get into a bad groove, and then Saquon rips off a 20-yard run, and they're like, "Oh yeah, wait, we are a good offense," and it's like, well, like,
Yeah,
you just run the ball normally.
it's strange that they have to like do that in the first place,
They
considering
have to
how.
like psych themselves into being a good offense.
I mean, you have AJ Brown, you have Devontae Smith, you have Dallas
Yeah,
Goddard.
Dallas
I
Goddard.
don't,
Yeah, like
I don't understand like what's ever been the issue with them and why the run game is such like a
they're like the most
important.
abstractly bad team in the league.
It I don't know if it's like a play calling thing because I don't know, but like I don't know, their new coordinator is like I don't know. It all just strikes
Yeah,
me. I
that's
don't know.
what I'm confused. Like Kellen Moore's like bag was like efficiency and then explosiveness, and now it's just explosiveness, and it
It
just
just
doesn't
seems
really make sense to me.
it doesn't feel like their offense has changed that much. Like Jalen
Yeah, it
Hurts still
hasn't.
plays the same as Jalen Hurts usually
Mhm.
does. The only difference is you got a running back, so you can run the ball
Yeah,
more now. That's literally the only difference.
which is funny because Kellen Moore in his years with the Cowboys and the singular year with the Chargers last year is just rely on the quarterback making throws, but now it's Saquon breaking off runs. Like, yeah, I know they're such a weird organization right now that we've complained about Sirianni a lot, but as long as you guys like it, then I guess it's good enough for me, right?
But yeah,
um,
that's where I'm at with it. Real quickly, I assume we're both on the side that Lamar's going to win MVP number three, right?
I think it would be insane if he didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems because I feel like this year was primed for somebody else to be picked, and nobody else wants to grab the reins from him.
I mean, because the
Like
complaint with
we wanted
Lamar,
it to be Josh Allen real bad, especially because I mean you could have said
Allen this year is like Purdy, where he is playing well and he is a spiritual MVP. But yeah, numbers wise, definitely not going to get there.
he probably should have won last year if he wanted to really be like nitpicky. At least like that was his most obvious case to win. So I don't know, but I think Lamar was better than him last year anyway. So what do I know?
While we're here, then we never do picks, but I don't know why we finally made it under an hour. Yay for us. While we're here, why not? Let's Commanders Eagles. Who you got?
I'm gonna roll with the commies. I
Yeah,
think
I like the
I
Commanders
think
here.
I think surviving Pittsburgh gives them one bad play away from getting the ball back and potentially winning. I
Hmm.
think that should make
Hmm.
them very confident to walk into a very up and down inconsistent Eagles defense.
Yeah, their defense has been really impressive last the second half of the season so far. They were not good at the beginning of the season, but yeah, they've gotten a lot more physical. We'll see what happens with Marshawn Lattimore.
It's that it's
Shout
that
out,
it's that Mike Zimmer and shit, man. Like it's the reason why the Falcons made it as far as they did, despite
Dan Quinn. Yeah, yeah.
they had a similar issue. The same reason that the Falcons made it.
All right, so I agree there. Ravens Steelers. I'm not going to tempt fate here. I'm still going to go with the Ravens, but I honestly think this will be a nasty game.
I'm gonna go with the Steelers. I think
You're gonna
they're
go with Steelers? Yeah, no, I
are
understand.
they? I guess that the question is who's at home. Yeah,
I think it's in Pittsburgh.
I'm going with this. I'm going
Yeah,
with the Steelers. I think they're at home. I think they're liable to split the series. So I think this
this
will.
game will do a lot for their vibes. I think if they win this game, because even this past week winning against the Commanders, I kind of felt the media shift. Like, hey, the Steelers.
Yeah,
Like a lot of people kind of shifted maybe 2 weeks ago, but now the rest of the landscape is moving. So yeah, if they win this game, then it'll be really funny to see people turn on the Ravens. That's all.
yeah. I don't know where they would see all the things that we've been saying since week one.
Yeah. Falcons Broncos. Who do you got?
I'm gonna go with the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna
Go
go
with
with
the
the
Broncos.
Broncos.
I think
Don't like I don't
that
like the way the Falcons are trending.
if
This
that def-
defense
if that
continues to be really disappointing.
if that Broncos defense almost smoked Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins is gonna get smoked so bad.
Yeah.
That and I imagine Bo Nix would probably have a good game.
Yeah, I mean he's really good. Yeah, against this. If the
Against the Falcons,
Falcons
against the
don't
Falcons,
put pressure on him, then
I think Bo Nix could have a good game.
Falcons are so frustrating too because even on the secondary, like middle of the field's pretty good with Bates and Simmons, but like AJ Terrell continues to be like one of the most Jekyll and Hyde players in the league on either side of the ball. Like some days is lockdown, and some days is just like he's a turnstile.
It's weird, and
What a guy!
they're gonna match him up against Cortland Sutton the same way that they put oh my god, I forget the CB1 for the Chiefs name off the top of my head, but they put
I mean,
him on
the
a
Chiefs are funny because they've got McDuffie and Watson, but yeah,
McDuffie. That's who I was thinking of. They put McDuffie
yeah.
on Cortland Sutton all game, and Cortland Sutton had a pretty solid game. So if they put Terrell on Sutton, I could easily see him going for 100 yards.
And then, like I said, the headliner, Chiefs Bills. I'm just gonna get out ahead, say it like this has to be the week the devil magic doesn't work. Because if it does, then these motherfuckers going undefeated, man. Honestly,
I think the
they're
Chiefs.
going undefeated or losing a really stupid game.
I think the Chiefs do it.
You think they do it? Oh man.
Especially coming off these last two. We haven't really covered the Bills much in these last couple weeks because the Bills look kind of rough.
The
They,
the Bills have
they're
kind
like
of been.
they're scrapping in like very winnable games. Like I think it was 30-20 against the Colts, and that like again, I've been an advocate for that Colts defense all year, but like still, Josh Allen's top three quarterback in the league. It shouldn't look as ugly the way that he makes it.
I mean, Amari Cooper playing in that game is going to do a lot to sway this,
Yeah,
but I don't know. The Bills, though, I like the Bills just because their secondary looks really good. And so I think you can have a similar game to what happened just now against the Broncos, but you know, this is an opportunity for Josh Allen and the Bills to get a statement win. This would be the statement win of the season.
I'm a little wary of how they play. I'm more wary about the Bills playing Kansas City's defense than I am Mahomes playing the Bills defense.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Weird, weird week. Awesome season so far. It's gonna be so annoying when the Chiefs win.
I think it's very plausible. I think it's like again they made a lot of shit shake just off of like stupid check down shit all game or like dumb curl routes that or they had like one play where they did like a side thing with Worthy and he just sprinted from there. It was a whole bunch of yards after catch shit all game and it was really annoying.
Like, there's not a lot of. I think there's this season probably the most competitive air quotes we've had in a while. Like not like Mike Vrabel Titans being quote competitive. Like there are good teams in this league, and yeah, that's gonna be great when they lift that third trophy. Oh, fourth now. It's gonna be awesome.
You want to know the one thing that might cause an upset, and I had been thinking about this while watching the Broncos because they're kind of bred the same in terms of defense. But like,
Mm.
if the Steelers ended up in a wild card situation where they faced the Chiefs, I think that game wouldn't be like obvious.
Oh yeah, that's just. that's what. Yeah, see, that's part of what I mean. We also have these teams that are really great, like the Broncos and the Steelers. That situationally, you get those matchups, you're not gonna love it. Like it feels so backhanded when you say that, but yeah, like I wouldn't choose the Steelers to even go to the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't want to play them in the first round.
The thing is like
Yeah,
I don't think it's completely like out of question that the Chiefs and the Steelers match up. And I think if they do, I think Russell Wilson, as much as we give him shit, he's got enough experience in playoff situations to
yeah.
be able to like potentially upset. I'm not even going to
It'll
speak.
be his first. It'll be his first game in under the lights, as it were, in what now, like 3 years.
Yeah.
In a clutch playoff game.
But
Yeah,
I've learned enough by now not to speak against the devil like that. So, but just theoretically, games like that would at least give you pause to be like, maybe the devil is a lie.
well, I mean, the devil's on Patrick Mahomes' side, and God is always on Russell Wilson's side. He's got God and
He's got God
NCR on his side. Come on.
Subway, the Danger Witch, and it's
The
dangerous.
Danger Witch. Oh, man. Ending on the Danger Witch. I've always wanted to try the footlong cookie. I bet that shit sucks, but, as a good American, I feel like I'm obligated to try it.
You ever did anything dangerous? I actually I root for Russ as much shit as we both give him. Like
He's fun to hate. No, he's fun to hate. It's
I
not
don't
like when Brady was on the.
I don't hate him is the thing. I just think he's
No,
kind of
not like hate, but like, you know what I mean? Like, he's fun to
he's
make
fun
fun of.
sometimes.
He's fun to make fun of. It's not like Brady on the Patriots, where like I think we should have outlawed football.
Yeah,
Like Russell Wilson is like, what a loser, but also, hey, great throw, man.
I
We
would
need to
like
bring back, as you know, we need to bring back bullying in this country. So
absolutely.
it's okay to bully Russell Wilson. Like, come on, man. He's literally fucking married to Ciara. Like, come on, man.
That's where
Come on.
that's where we should end. Like bring back bullying.
Bring back bullying. Shout out Ciara. But also, God, I just remembered Level Up as a song. And I hate when I have to remember that song exists. That song fucking sucks.
I don't know why you had to share that with me. I don't know why
Level Up is.
you like brought the light out of my eyes because I was thinking about Promise the whole time. I was thinking about Promise, 1-2 Step. You thought Level
Yeah.
Up, you evil bastard.
Just remember, if you are. This isn't the same thing to end on, but if you are running for office, do not ever use Fight Song or Level Up. Just don't do it, man. You're asking for trouble.
You seriously use that shit?
Hey, man, the math is mathing. I'm
Did,
just saying, man. Joe Biden did not use Fight Song, and that motherfucker won. Basic math.
but did,
Basic math.
did Kamala really use Level Up? Please don't tell me that's true.
I'm gonna let the misinformation stay where it is, but
I I was
I
gonna
think the vibes make sense.
no.
I'll say that at least. The vibes fit.
I tell my friend Brandon all the time. Sometimes I don't need to know everything. So like even if it is true, I don't need to be told that.
All right.
Like, ignorance ain't bliss, but like ignorance is kind of fire sometimes.
All right. Well, thank you for listening this week. Um, wow, we actually did it. We set our record for shortest pod. Good for us. Maybe we'll actually make it under an hour next week. Or maybe next week we'll be totally insane. Who knows? Who knows?
Spend 45 minutes on why Josh Allen blew up the fucking football field.
Oh, man. You want to go Dark Knight Rises? Sick.
No, legit. Like it'd be like we did not just trade that Xavier Worthy motherfucker to the goddamn Chiefs, and he.
Oh, man. I didn't even think about that. Wow, that would be so poetically evil if Xavier Worthy, after having such really a bad season so far,
They're in.
if he had like 2 touchdowns, oh, man. Keon Coleman drop or something? Oh, man.
They're in Buffalo. I wouldn't put it past them. Like if Benny the Butcher like blew up or something.
Oh, so it's not. I can't bring up music, and you bring up Griselda. Okay, whatever, dude. All right. Friendly reminder that Bane was only the second biggest criminal on the field in Dark Knight Rises. Anyway, wherever and whenever you are listening to us, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, or good night. So, oh man. Second biggest. Just remember that. Second biggest criminal.